Okay, so let's begin just by taking a seat that you can be reflective in for the next several minutes. We are going to start class with pranayama. So what I would recommend is the seat you're choosing for meditation is also the seat that you can use comfortably for pranayama. And so then you can let yourself settle in, bring your hands to your lap if that's your preference, and you're welcome to close your eyes. And then do your best to sift through your habitual mental noise, the mental patterns that actually pull you away from reality into habit. Sift through those and let yourself arrive here for your practice, but also for your practice of awareness, that it's not just about making your hamstrings feel better. And since a high percentage of our mental habits are generated as like safety mechanisms, which we can talk about at another time, but there's a neurobiological reason why mental habits keep repeating themselves, and they get initiated in systems trying to keep us safe, which is different than collective interest in keeping us awake. So because most of those mental habits are tied to that safety keeping, I'm going to ask you to sift through those and set them aside. And again, to come into this moment, into present moment circumstances, and into the present moment circumstances that bring us together for practice, including the larger news of our civilization. And then to help yourself arrive in the present moment, in reality, not in mental habit like a Ferris wheel mind. You can use the breath for that purpose, but I'm going to ask you, like I did yesterday and the day prior, that you're using the breath to be alive to the present moment, not to separate yourself from larger information or more difficult news, but to be alive here in the present moment. So the breath is a source of soothing, it's clarifying, it's strengthening. It can also help us to be sensitive and porous and to feel that which is most deeply in all of us, like human dignity, the longing for human respect, the deep longing for a sense of tribe and connection, the deep indwelling human desire for evolving, not devolving. And so as you connect like this, you can imagine the inhale is a pulsation that goes outwards, the exhale a pulsation in which you're returning. And that this pulsation is something that lets you be porous, which is one of my favorite words right now, that we're porous to the information and our hearts are porous to allow wisdom or love, empathy, kindness to flow outwards. And please bring your hands together in Anjali mudra. And when you come into that Anjali mudra, there's a tiny space in the center of the palms that doesn't touch. And into that space, you can place your intention for this practice. And imagine when you're singing that your intention is being given this vibration of song and that it flows outwards from there. And this afternoon, we're going to sing Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Savidyam Karavavaye, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavaye. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Savidyam Karavavaye, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavaye. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Savidyam Karavavaye, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavaye. Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands, and please open your eyes. I'm going to move slightly back from my seat so that when I do the pranayama, I won't be hitting the computer. And we are going to do this pranayama to help clear the mind and the body to be here even more porously, is the word that I'm using again. Let me bring this so you can see better. Okay, so interlace your fingers, and on the inhale, first press the hands down and then sweep forward and rise up. Now this time when you exhale, place the hands on top of your head. Exhale completely, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And then inhale, make a little sitting back bend. Use the hands on top of your head so this whole spinal column is working as a smooth unit. And then exhale, come upright, take the heels of your hands towards the ceiling. And now inhale, sweep the arms wide. And exhale, join your palms together in Anjali mudra. Place your intention there again. The inhale, press down, forward, up. Exhale, hands to the top of your head. Squeeze your shoulder blades down your upper back. Prepare your body to inhale for a smooth back bend, the whole spine involved. And then exhale, push up through the heels of your hands, raise up through the crown of your skull, lift your rib cage and your heart. And now inhale, sweep out to the side. A big stretch from the heart to your fingertips. And then exhale, join your hands in Anjali mudra, placing your intention in the center of your palms. Okay, once more, inhale down, forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the top of your head. Exhale from the base of your belly quite completely, going upwards through the crown of the skull. Now inhale for a little back bend. And then exhale, push upwards through the heels of your hands, stretch your arms, raise the crown of your skull, the back and sides of your heart and rib cage. And then inhale, sweep the arms wide. Be really deliberate about the pace and openness and length of the breath. And then exhale your hands to your heart. And listen inside the center of your palms for your intention for this practice. May we be willing to be more aware. May we be willing to have ourselves reflected back to ourselves. May we come to understand our contributions and the ways in which we can participate skillfully. May all beings everywhere be given the basic sense of respect and regard, inclusion, a sense of worthiness by all other beings. Now we're going to change up this pranayama. So what I'm going to ask you to do is when you inhale, bring the hands down and sweep them wide and up. So this is the in-breath. Now clasp the hands like an arrow, reach up and exhale very slightly to your right. Inhale, rise up to center. Exhale, go very slightly to your left, not the deepest side bend you can do. Inhale up to center, lift your rib cage, your heart, your arms, the arrow of your attention. And then exhale, push out, open your chest, your heart, and your throat. Bring your head upright. Inhale, raise your arms. Go wide and up. Clasp the hands, change the interlace of your fingers by 1 digit. Exhale, slight side bend to your right. The inhale, rise up to center. Lift your rib cage and the crown of your skull and the fingers. Exhale, slight side bend to your left. Inhale, rise up to center. And exhale to open. Heart and throat and eyes. Once more, inhale, raise your arms up, bring your gaze forward. Clasp the hands, exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, rise up. And exhale to open. And now inhale, hands to the heart. And again, in the center of your palms, connect to your intention. Remind yourself that yoga is capable of helping you to renew, but the purpose of this renewal is to stay aware. Now, one more. Check that you have the space in front of you to reach forward comfortably. We're going to be using a forward bend. I'll take my glasses off because they fall off my face when I do that. Okay, so now when you inhale, sweep the arms wide up and out to the side. And then using your low belly, when you exhale, bow forward slowly and reach along the floor, like it's called pranam. And then inhale, draw yourself upright and raise both arms overhead. And exhale, bow forward. Having the arms overhead is difficult. It's a different dynamic. If you need to put the hands on the floor first, that is fine. And then inhale, try to use your low belly to bring yourself upright. And then exhale to bow forward. One more time, inhale to come upright. Try to use the low belly, undulate the spine upwards. And then exhale, and when you come forward this time, we're going to stay forward and down. And let's think of pranam means to make a humble offering from the heart, a forward offering, a humble gesture. Allow your body to continue to breathe fully here. So the inhale broadens the back of your waist and gives you access to the interior of your body and your energy. And exhale is to help release the mental habits of the Ferris wheel mind so you are more present here in this forward, humble offering. May all beings be safe. May they have ease, dignity, and respect. May the suffering end. May the root causes of suffering be resolved. Now please walk your hands on the floor back towards your knees and rise up to sitting. Let's just check and see how things are when you come into your plumb line. My hope is that if you've been hardening to things, that you feel more porous right now. The skin is an immune organ, a membrane between us and the cosmos, but it's an illusion that it separates us from the cosmos. We are a part of all that is and all that is happening. So please rise up to standing now. I'll put my physio ball aside and I'll back up to my mat, my other mat. Susie, thank you for helping me. Do I have my camera turned on, Susie, or do I have to do it? No?
All good.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so take a stance as wide as your yoga mat, like this. Great. Inhale, raise the arms up and hook your thumbs overhead. Clasp your fingers overhead, make it like an arrow. And then exhale again, side bend to your right, not the biggest side bend that you can do. Inhale up to center. I'm asking for not the biggest side bend, exhale to your left, because I want you to sense the tone in the low belly. We're not just collapsing the ribs onto the hips here. Inhale, rise up to center. Once more, exhale, slight side bend to your right, root into your left heel, please. Inhale up to center. And then exhale, side bend to your left. Keep the right heel grounded. Good, and inhale, rise up. Float your arms out to the side. I'm going to be addressing the psoas, iliacus, quadratus lumborum, some of those muscles in this region of the body. So let's go now a little bit wider, so heel toe once. It's not the widest stance you have, and it's not the width of your mat. Raise your arms. Point through the fingers. Okay, as you exhale, side bend to your right without sashaying your hips to the left. And we're going to stay in the side bend this time. So press from your left hip, good, into your left heel. Now, keeping the belly toned, I'm going to ask you to come just very slightly into a little forward bend for the upper back, shoulders and head. And then very slightly into a back bend. And then very slightly into a little forward bend. It's really the upper thoracic spine, shoulders and head that you're moving. And very slightly into a little back bend. And once more, very slightly into a little forward bend. And now come to neutral and inhale, rise up to center. And then exhale to the other side. And again, don't collapse the rib cage here on the side. So you're not resting your ribs on your hip bones. And keeping the pelvis stable, go a little slightly towards a forward bend. You might feel the back of your waist a tiny bit. A little bit towards a back bend. And see where you can find some fluid movement with that. So if it's challenging to the core strength of the pelvis, or the flexibility of your upper spine, then take notice of the challenge and also how you respond when there is a challenge, either to your stability or to your flexibility. And then inhale, rise up to center, let the arms float out to the side. And now go out to what would be the distance you would use for Warrior II pose. And let's say, if I've been calling this my right, I should continue that this is my right. So turn both feet to your right. Bend your right knee. So this is the distance that you use for your Warrior II stance. Good. Inhale, raise the arms. And then exhale, I'm going to ask you to side bend like this. Float your right arm down and reach it towards your left leg. Inhale, rise up. Beautiful, yes. And then exhale. The pelvis is a part of this exhale and this movement. Good. And then inhale. As I said yesterday, when you're moving about like this, you can imagine that you're actually welcoming in the full spectrum of who you are, the full spectrum of what human nature is. So we get a chance to study human nature in ourselves. Here's one more time. Inhale to go up. And now this time as you exhale, take the right arm as you've been doing, reach it past. And see if you can stay a few moments. Breathing in. Press into your right outer heel, right big toe, right pinky toe. And as you exhale, rise up, Warrior II. Gaze to your right. Warrior II can invoke certain emotions like a sense of determination or focus, the desire to stretch into the horizon, to understand the past, to seek the future. When you next exhale, join your hands to your heart and straighten your right leg. Turn your right foot forward. Reconnect again to the intention that you put into the center of your palms. And then turn your left foot out to the left. The right heel can go just slightly back, so your hips know that you're going in this direction. Sweep your arms wide and check and see what your Warrior II stance feels like here. Good. Okay, on your exhale, reach. So the left arm reaches towards the right leg. Inhale, rise up. Great. And then exhale to reach. Good job. Press into your right heel. Inhale to rise up. Yes. Exhale to reach. Again, smoothly. So the circle of the arms, you can imagine this is like a dance or a gesture that we welcome the full spectrum of the human condition because we are studying yoga, because we want to know ourselves, to be honest. Okay, once more, inhale to come up. Now we're going to stay a few breath cycles. So exhale, glide your left arm down to reach towards your right leg. Notice what it takes to sustain the pose. You don't really have a support for your left hand right now, so the support has to come from a sense of stabilizing at your center. When you're next to exhale, then rise up to Warrior II. Gaze out over your left fingertips. And sense the sort of expression that Warrior II is for you. I just gave a few cues last time what it means for me today, like determination, fortitude, being willing to understand both the past and the possibility for the future. And then we're going to exhale, bring the hands together, straighten your left leg, please. Turn your left foot in, and now let's come down to Prasarita Padottasana. Hinge over the top of your thighs right here. And place your fingertips on the floor or on a couple of blocks. And then let your breathing become smooth and steady. So that's up to you on the inside. It's a place where you can have leadership with your nervous system, that you encourage the breath to be smooth, stable, steady. If we're going to practice svadhyaya, self-study, with less reactivity, it does help to nourish our capacity for the smoothness of the breath, the smooth openness of the heart, the willingness to be honest, self-honesty. Please shift your hands to your hips and rise up to standing. Now we're going to work on a series of back bends. So I'm going to ask you to step your feet in. And in this back bend process, we are going to come down to the floor. And I hope that my camera will show you well enough from the floor. So I'm going to go for a profile view so that you can see. And it's helpful to have a blanket nearby for part of this back bend sequence. So I'll put mine here. So to lie on the stomach here and then to lift up away from gravity is going to require strength in the upper back and clarity in the breath. So please lie down with your toes pointed behind you. Take both arms down alongside your torso, turn your head to the right. Now lengthen the tailbone towards your heels and toes. And as you inhale, raise your arms, shoulders, heart, head, sweep the arms wide. And then exhale, turn your head to your left as you come down. Inhale, raise up, sweep the arms wide. So this is relatively symmetrical. Exhale, lower down, turn your head to the right. That's our only asymmetry right now, is that we're turning the head. So inhale, rise up, keep your legs grounded. Exhale, turn your head to your left. Inhale to rise. And exhale, turn your head to your right. This is where we started, so take a moment to pause. Let your body breathe and recalibrate. Now this time when we rise up, we're going to inhale and lift, and you'll be lifting the left arm out to the side, the right arm past your right ear, and the left leg up behind you. But the right leg will stay down. And then we're going to come down and turn the head to the left. Let me describe on this side. When you inhale to go up, you're going to take the left arm forward, right arm out to the side, and also lift the right leg. And then you exhale to come down and turn your head to the right. Let's try it together. So inhale to come up, lift your left leg and right arm, left arm out to the side. And exhale, scissor down, turn your head to your left. Inhale, rise up, left arm, right leg. Take your right arm out to the side. And exhale, lower down, turn your head to your right. Should feel a little bit vigorous, that's okay. Let's inhale to go up, lift your left leg and right arm, left arm out to the side. And exhale to lower, turn your head to your left. One more time, inhale, left arm, right leg. The right arm goes sideways. And exhale, lower down, turn your head to your right. And allow the body to relax so that there's a sense you made the exertion, now you're coming to ease. And then place both hands beneath your shoulders, center your forehead, please. Press down to come up. And reach back to child's pose. Let's take one block for the head. So in this child's pose, I'm going to work with your upper back a little bit. So let's begin with your hips moving towards your heels and your elbows under your shoulders. And notice the breath in the back of the body. A little bit more space back there, right? Now keeping the right arm where it is, right elbow where it is, start walking the left elbow. Let's go about 2 inches forward with the left elbow. Place it on the floor firmly and keep your left hand down on the floor. And then walk the left elbow another inch forward and try to place your elbow on the floor. Press it down firmly. Press your left palm down firmly. Now, turn your head to your right so it's resting on the block. And place your right hand on the floor near your right knee, somewhere to help you twist your upper back to your right. And then walk the left hand even more, walk it out. So this twist is mostly in the upper back. This is not a huge demand for the twist, but you are working on the lungs inside the body. So let's take a deep breath into the left hemisphere of the torso. And then exhale and walk back where both elbows are going to be under your shoulders and your forehead comes down to the block. Imagine what happens as you open up your body to really be porous, to have not a sense of separateness between you and the rest of the community or the other citizens or the ecology. Please walk your right elbow 2 inches forward. Notice it's a small change, but it requires some attention. And then take the right elbow another inch forward. And for some of you, that's going to feel like a bigger change because you've just changed a conversation between muscles. So keeping your right elbow down and your right palm firm, please rotate your head to your left. Walk your left hand back somewhere near your left knee and twist your upper body to your left. And then walk the right hand all the way forward. Continue it. And listen for what's happening as your body breathes in these different ways. To the right hemisphere of the torso, for example, can you imagine the body being even more porous, more willing, more receptive? And then walk your elbows back towards your knees where you started. And walk your hands back to your knees. And let's put that one block aside and please take your blanket like this. So when the blanket is folded from the storage fold and you fold it in half, you're going to place this down so that this is where the pelvis goes and the pubic bone is going to be right here. And this is for a really familiar pose. It's for cobra pose, but we're going to use cobra with some variations. So walk your hands now to a place underneath your shoulders, please. With your toes pointed behind you, you should feel like you can take the tailbone down towards your toes. So keeping that steady now. Press down through both hands and lift the base of your skull to roll up to Bhujangasana. And then slide your shoulders back, slide your heart forward. Now as the shoulders stay back, try to make the breath smooth and inside without making it like it's not a competition. Just check and see if you could rely less on your hands and more on the inner strength of the spine, your shoulder blades, your upper back, your breath. With the legs grounded, you might even try sweeping the arms back towards the wall behind you. And see if you might sweep your left arm out to the side and forward. Turn your head to your right. And then bring that back to center. And sweep your right arm forward. Turn your head to your left. And then roll that back around. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. Cobra pose. Table pose. Child's pose. For this child's pose, pull the blanket in. Make a little stack of your fists to rest your head on. And notice how your body recovers after exertion and then coming into ease. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and please rise up. Now I'm going to ask you to fold this blanket in a different way because as I was saying, I want to work with the psoas, the iliacus, and the quadratus lumborum. So please take this blanket that you have and fold it in thirds like this. 1, 2, 3. And place it on the short side of your mat. I'm going to go like this. So this is, you're going to put it on the short side of your yoga mat. And so I'll start with my right hip here on the blanket. And when you lie down, you can use your right arm as a pillow for your head and put both thighs up on the blanket like this. So the two thighs are supported. The two shins, you're going to be just responsible for those. I believe you can do it. We did part of this activity this past weekend. So now I'm going to have you take the left leg and reach it long. Good. And keeping your hips right here stacked. So you're not going to roll forward, you're not going to roll back. Start taking the left inner heel and the left big toe down to the floor. And it might not reach. That's okay. You have to find some length in here through the back waist and in here through the iliacus. Keep your left arm overhead past your ear. Now, without moving your pelvis, and this is important, I want you to keep the pelvis stable up and down here, but also this pelvic tilt that you have established. And just start to slide your left heel and big toe back on the floor. You do not need to go that far for this to be effective. So don't let the lumbar spine arch a lot here. You're lengthening the left leg, left lower back, left side waist. As you slide your left leg back, tone your left butt. You're working on the left glutes to ask the left psoas to release. And then exhale and bring your left elbow and your left knee into like a reclined quadruped at the same moment. And let your body relax. Take notice. Where do you feel more supple, more porous? Okay, now please roll onto your back. Watch out for hair clips. They're a little bit pokey. Okay, for this one, I'm going to ask you to do this. Keep the right knee bent as it is. Stretch the left leg out straight and draw the low belly in. So you've got this pelvic tilt, it's called a posterior tilt, this way. Then bring your right knee up to your chest. And from your left inner thigh, slide your left heel across the mat, a little bit towards the right side of your mat. And take your left arm overhead. Now, I believe you guys are agile enough to do this. You're also playful enough to give it a try. I'd like you to swivel so that you're making a C shape from your left heels, which slid across to the right side of your mat. Also take the torso to a little bit of a C shape. And breathe through the crescent pose, the crescent that you've made on the left hemisphere of the body. And then swivel the torso back to center on the mat. Bring the left leg back to center on the mat and hug your right knee into your chest. And now place both feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to ask you to switch your blanket for a block. So take one block on the flat setting under the back of the pelvis. Now this time when you swivel the torso, you're going to go like this, swivel to your right, and hold your right ankle with your left hand. Sweep the left arm overhead. And lengthen your left leg out. So sometimes what happens in a pose like this, by the way, the tailbone should be going up and you have a posterior tilt for the pelvis. Sometimes you're going to get what we call a yoga hot flash when you're releasing the psoas, the iliacus, the inner tension patterns of the body. So if you get a yoga hot flash, it's like having your temperature go up temporarily. It could be a helpful release for you. And then exhale, walk this one back to center. So the torso comes back, step your left foot in. Okay, put the block aside, trade it for your blanket. Roll onto your left outer hip, please. And I want you to have the blanket so that when you roll to the side, you have your thighs on the blanket. Put the left arm under your head. And then stretch the right leg straight out. And try bringing the inner right heel down towards the floor. That means you have to release from in the lower back and the inner hip, the iliacus. And sweep your right arm overhead. As you reach with the right leg, now start using the right butt to slide your right heel back on the floor without arching your lower back. Rather than looking for a big stretch, you might be noticing how some muscles have to stay engaged here and some muscles are tempted to not be engaged. And I'd like you to bring both your right knee and your right elbow kind of into a reclined sideways quadruped position together. Let the body relax. And then roll onto your back so that you've got your hips on your blanket. Okay, bring your left knee up and right leg out. I'm smiling at you guys. Thank you for being here. Let's glide the right leg across. And that will not feel easy to some of you, I know. You might find out that your outer right hip is tight or resistance, or the psoas has some resistance, and maybe the right adductor is not as toned as it could be to help glide your foot across the mat. And take the right arm overhead. Just do your best, right? You're reworking a muscle conversation, and that's not a simple thing. So now when you walk over, you kind of swivel the torso to your left, and this makes a crescent shape from your right heel up to your right fingers. And then let this one also come back to center. Glide the right leg straight out and notice what it's like to bring your left knee to your chest now. And lower the left foot down. Bend your right knee. This is where we take the block. It goes under on the flat setting, under the back of the pelvis. Okay, swivel the torso to hold your left hand to your right ankle. Stretch the right leg out. Right arm overhead. And say hello to your right iliacus, right psoas, right lower back. Remember your primary intention for practicing here. You can imagine that what you sense as the restrictions in your body or the sensations of tightness, this is all, possibly it's the myofascial flinch of your whole system in response to not just current news, but the historical dilemmas, quandaries, denials, all of that your body's been feeling as you live here on the planet, in this country, and so on. So when you exhale now, release the torso, let yourself come back to center and take this one block that's under your hips and put it up to the medium setting. We call this supported bridge pose. And for this supported bridge pose, I'm going to ask you to make sure your block doesn't tip over and turn it into lifting the knees, the legs. It's called candlestick pose. Bring your attention down into the pelvis, the pelvic bowl, these muscles we've been working with. And just imagine if we could resolve what we've been carrying in our own bodies as a result of our disconnection from each other and from the earth. If we could resolve this, what might it free up in us? How might we feel more connected and also more interdependent and interresponsible? Without the block tipping over, please bend your knees and invite the knees. You can hold the block with your hands, invite the knees to drop in towards the chest. Your hips are elevated right now by the block. And you do have to hold the block because otherwise it probably will tip. So hold the block to keep your hips lifted for a few moments. For those of you who are quite limber, that does include me. You could take the legs overhead like this, just like as natural as moving your hair off your face. If that's not your hamstring capacity or your hip joint capacity, please don't worry about it. You can just do knees to chest, it's fine. And then for everyone, stabilize the block, lower your toes slowly to the floor. Put the block aside, take your blanket and place the blanket right behind the sitting bones at the top of the thighs to come down for Savasana. And when you come to Savasana, put your attention into the inner belly, these two deep muscles called the psoas, the partner muscles called the iliacus. And let's visualize that these muscles, they get to resolve some of the flinch, the fight, flight, freeze, flinch. Resolving the history that you have held in your psoas, in your iliacus, with your loving attention right now. As you're giving permission for that to resolve, just picture the psoas, the iliacus, they become more supple, more unctuous. We become less guarded, less defensive. So visualize these muscles, they become more pliable, more resilient, more supple. Allow that to go a few degrees more deeply. Imagine the psoas, right side, left side, more and more at ease, more supple, more unctuous, more graceful. Now, as the psoas releases like this, the mental Ferris wheel can also slow down. Some of the oldest thought patterns, they can get off the Ferris wheel. They can disembark. Allowing that process of heaviness to continue a few moments more. Imagine again that the passengers on the mental habit Ferris wheel, they are disembarking. those old thought habits that you know are not useful and no longer true. These mechanisms are tied together: the fight, flight, freeze, flinch, and the Ferris wheel of the mind. Keeping the psoas really at ease. You can think of it like when you're holding a very relaxed baby, a very relaxed, supple baby, or a very relaxed cat. Before there's muscle tone or tension, the sleeping puppy. Let the psoas be like that as you gently roll your head side to side, slightly wiggle your toes, your fingers. And thoughtfully tone the low belly to bend one knee at a time in your transition to your right side. Once you transition to your right, bring your knees towards your chest for a moment. And then you can use both hands to bring yourself back up to sitting. When you come up to sit, just take a comfortable upright seat and see how it is, to have the inner structure of that which helps you to be upright, to have that structure be potentially more relaxed. And I'd like you to imagine inside the kind of freedom that you could bring into your life, with a few of the recommendations coming from this beautiful article that was sent to me, the 75 things that we can do. So for example, what kind of freedom might you have in your inner life, in your ethics? One recommendation was to stop shopping at Amazon and Whole Foods because they advertise on platforms that have white supremacist media. If you were to just give up Amazon and Whole Foods, first of all, you will survive. Secondly, what kind of freedom might come to your inner ethics to do that? Listen within. Where might that have inspiration or a sense of traction for you? And then also the inner freedom or ethics you might have if you really ask your advisor, your banker, you inquire, what are you investing in with them? And where can you divest yourself of investments that are perpetuating racism, marginalization, private prisons, and so on? Just listen in the somatics of the body. What might feel more free in you? How do you come closer to your ethics with that? I'll leave you with those reflections for now, because you can actually seek out, ask at your bank, ask your advisor, do a little research. And also you can find other places to shop. So please bring your hands together at your heart. I'm giving these recommendations because the action steps that we can take, we should be taking, but also want you to equate those action steps with the inner longing to be more in touch with your human ethics, with the instinctual values of the heart that cares for the welfare of all beings. May this class be inspiring, nurturing, but also may it be a little provocative towards some action you can take today. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.